John Ford once said, decent dressing is a form of good manners. Decency is one thing that has been with us since the time of Adam. As they say, dress the way you want to be addressed. You're warmly welcome to the Changemakers Voice Show with me and your Pondinchi right here on your Online TV. Let's go and find out and read the quotes of the day. I will come back with more. You're warmly welcome back to the Changemakers Voice Show with me and your Pondinchi. I'm sure you got motivated, you got inspired by the quote you just read. Whatever it says, keep inspiring yourself and keep doing more. As I said, today we are talking about decent dressing in the lives of young people at the tertiary level and what they need to wear, how they need to behave on campus, and a whole lot of things to live a fruitful life on campus without their parents being with them on campus. Let's find out who our guest is and we'll come back with more.
Miss Eva Cupulo is an adjunct lecturer, entrepreneur, public speaker, and a content creator. Additionally, she also runs a students' advocacy platform dubbed Students Talk with Eva on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and X, where she creates student-related content to guide students throughout their academic journeys. Miss Eva is currently pursuing a doctorate course at the University of Johannesburg, South Africa, in the light of elevating her academic credentials and educational status. As a humanitarian, Miss Eva also raises funds for students to pay their fees and accommodation, as well as provides internship, national service slots, and job opportunities for them to better their lives and also make it worthwhile.
You're warmly welcome back once again to the Changemakers Voice Show with me and your Pondinchi as we go to communities, go to where people are doing something inspiring to learn and get them motivated and also motivate ourselves and to build our world. I'm sure you now know who our guest is. This is Miss Eva.
Empower your world.
Miss Eva, you're warmly welcome to my show. I've been looking forward to sitting down with you for us to learn together and also for my fellow colleague students as well to learn. So before we zoom straight into the interview, could you, although my audience may have known or know a bit about you and what you do on social media, could you tell us a bit of what you do and who you are?
Right. Thank you very much for having me,
You're
Andy.
welcome.
My name is Eva Kumpolo. Um, I basically run a student advocacy platform on social media, so TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, as well as X, where I create content, student-related content, basically to aid students with their academic journeys. So I create content in relation to how students should look, tips students need for examination, virtually everything you need as a student. I talk about relationship, I talk about marriages, I talk about jobs, but everything I talk about is in relation to students and their academic journeys, basically.
I would come to the content creation that you are doing, but before that, could you tell us your what decency means to you personally?
For me, when you talk about decency, decency is vague. I don't ascribe any specific meaning to decency. When I create content in relation to what students should wear and what they should not wear, a lot of the time I don't even talk about the decency aspect of it, because you know that if we have to talk about decency, it is highly debatable. For some people, in talking about decency, for them to qualify an outfit as decent, it means that you are not revealing some parts of your body. So, for instance, this dress that I'm wearing is considered as decent by a lot of people, because I'm not showing my breast, I'm not showing my thighs. And some people also ascribe decency to the fact that you are not showing specific parts of your body. So if I wear a top that is showing my whole arm, because it's not a sensitive part of my body like my breast, someone may consider it as decent. Another culture may consider it as indecent. So for me, I don't really peg a certain decency tag to outfits or to clothes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To buttress your personal definition of the decency, whilst coming for the shoot, I saw someone, and time to time I've been seeing ladies, I don't know, basically because of their background or their religion, but they wear long dress to their toe, but they will still wear a tra to it. I will ask, but it's not too short.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to it? Do you think the person, quote unquote, is over decency in a way, if
Okay.
there's a word for it?
Okay. Yeah. So I think that I wouldn't attach any kind of decency ascription to it. So let me also ask before I speak on it. Is the person a Muslim, or does the
No, no,
person
no, she's not a Muslim. I'm sure she's a Christian.
Okay,
But the
she doesn't
dress,
have a veil.
a
So if we
veil,
are to go by that,
exactly.
we can easily say she's Christian. So for some people, they don't even like to show their legs. They don't like to show their calves. So for some people, when they wear something that is below their knee, even though it's below their knee, once their legs are shown, it's a problem. So they just want to wear a trouser to, cover up. I think that people dress in a way that makes them comfortable. A lot of the time, when ladies especially are indecent, by indecent I mean when they dress to reveal some parts of their body, they tell you that's what makes them comfortable. There's a girl I spotted on campus some time ago who virtually dresses to reveal a greater part of her body. And she tells me she's always feeling hot. Madam, when I wear a blouse and the hands are here, when I wear something that goes below my knees, I feel like
But
I'm too
this is where
covered.
she grew up. So
Exactly.
where was the heat? And
Exactly.
she's not experiencing the heat.
Exactly. So someone wearing a dress below her knee and wearing slacks or stretch under, and you see it as overly decent, that is also what makes her feel comfortable. So even for the people who dress indecently, they will tell you that's what makes them comfortable. There are some people when they dress and they don't show their cleavage. If they don't show a part of their breast or show a part of their thighs, trust me, they are not comfortable. They only get comfortable when they show a part of their body that you may consider as indecent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there things that demonstrate decency per your definition and understanding, and based on the thing you are doing on social media, as I would call it, a calling in the sense of impacting into most of young people's life? Are there things that demonstrate, and if there are, what are one or two things that demonstrate decency?
Right. So if I'm to go by the strict dictionary definition of decency, and then what typical Ghanaian culture would say, if I'm to go by it, then I would say that it is covering up, especially the sensitive parts of your body. Okay, such that you are not distracting others. That is what I would add. So if you know that you would wear a blouse and a good part of your breast are showing, and it's going to distract someone, probably a male partner or a male counterpart, then it's a problem, especially within the student space. Students have dressed and they are showing a greater part of their breast, and male students are getting distracted. Some of them, not all. Students are dressed, their dresses, especially the bodycon ones that keep shifting, it goes just beyond their ass. A greater part of their thighs are showing. They are seated in class, the dress draws up again, and a greater part of their thighs are showing. They are seated next to a male colleague who is likely to get distracted. And throughout the lecture, this male student is not focused. So for me, that is a high class of indecency. For
Okay.
me, if I'm to go by my definition.
I chance on one of your videos that you are saying if you would wear, I don't know the name of it, but bodycon or something, you are telling if a student will wear it and will keep pulling it back or down, why would you want to wear such a
Exactly.
dress? And this also
Exactly.
pushed me to ask, what do you make of the state of decent dressing in general, not dressing alone, but decency in the lives of young people in the tertiary, bringing it to your Unimac IJ?
Yeah. So if I'm to really be blunt on the issue of if I'm to really be blunt on the issue of dressing, decent dressing, not necessarily on a specific campus, but across campuses, we would have a day long
Yeah.
conversation because, to be honest, I don't blame these students. Times and trends are changing. And so, for some of these students who dress this way, they feel that they are following these times and trends. Because in this day and age, if you have a student wearing a long floating gown every time to school, she is likely to be laughed at by her colleagues. She must look a certain way, which sometimes is an indecent way in order to be in line with the times and trends. Now, you made mention of the bodycon dress. Anytime I mention bodycon dress in my video, you have a lot of students saying all sorts of things in the comment section. My point is this particular bodycon dress is a fitted kind of dress. Say that you are walking and then it keeps going up. And where you have ass, because the back is a bit protruded, it goes up even the more. And then you see them pulling it down. My question is, if you are wearing it and you know what it does, when it goes up, why not leave it hanging? Why do you pull it down? Which means you are not even comfortable in that dress in the first
So
place.
if I'm understanding, in other words, that they're telling some ladies not to wear it. That's those who want to wear, they shouldn't wear it.
My problem is the fact that you are wearing it to campus.
Okay, but they can wear it, but
You're
to other
wearing it to school.
places.
So I usually say that you can wear it to your casual outings. If you are
Okay.
just stepping out casually with someone, then that's fine. And the truth is that some of these particular bodycon dresses are casual dresses that should not be worn to school. They are dresses that you can even wear in the house whilst you are just cooking or fixing something for yourself or just chillaxing at home, but not to bring it to the campus space. Some of them have very tiny hands, and then it is extremely short and it's just not cut out. My argument is that the university is a professional space. And I always say this, I always say that the university is a professional environment. And as much as possible, you should be dressed in that regard. This dress that I'm wearing, it is not an official dress. If you want to go strictly according to what an official dress is, but it is cut out for the university space. And so clothes like that, that are so casual, tattered jeans, tattered shirts, slippers, bathroom slippers for some of them. All of these are casual, say that if you are wearing it out to buy something casually or you're stepping out or hanging out with friends, there is actually no question mark as compared to bringing it to school.
When did you start this content creation on encouraging students, and what was the inspiration for doing that?
Hmm. So I started creating student related content in 2020. In 2020, naturally, I am friendly towards students, especially. And as at the time I started lecturing, I was one of the young lecturers you could easily fish out of the other lecturers. So a lot of students felt comfortable sharing their problems with me. A lot of students felt comfortable opening up to me on specific issues that they would ordinarily not even open up to their parents on. And so during the outbreak of COVID, this time there were no physical lectures, but lectures were online. And then I would have students calling me and sharing their problems with me. So one day I just thought to myself that instead of keeping some of these issues to myself, why not put them out there for others to know what is going on? Because some people do not know that being a student is a daunting task.
Hmm, tell you.
It is very complicated. You must be in the shoes of a student to understand what students go through. So during COVID, when I realized that our lives were virtually online, I then decided to migrate these issues online, but anonymously. So if you speak to me on an issue, whether the issue is sensitive or not, I don't put out your name. I don't reveal the name of your university unless it is something that I feel will do the university some good. So that is where this whole advocacy thing started. So initially, I just post students' problems. Initially, I just raise school fees for students. Initially, I just seek for accommodation for students. I appeal for funds for students. I get internship opportunities, job opportunities for students. Initially, that was just it. But later, I realized that doing videos on some of the issues, would help the students to understand the things better. Because there were times I post an issue and students wanted me to go live or to speak on issues. So later I just added the video content for Facebook and then Instagram
Okay.
and then Twitter and then later TikTok. I started TikTok just last year. I am not even 1 year on TikTok yet, but the momentum and the interest there, I realized was
And I
even
saw you
more.
have hit 60K. If I'm
Yes, within a very short
Congratulations. We
period.
are looking
Thank
for
you.
more. I know with every stepping stone in getting a direction to achieve something or even to do something for the betterment of our community and everybody, there are challenges.
Yeah.
Has there been any challenge when you started? And was there even no challenge outward? But was there a time you feel enough is enough? Let me stay my somewhere and do my thing without someone coming
Mm.
to worry me or anything?
Oh yes, I have experienced a lot. In fact, I have hit a lot of rocks throughout this journey. So from 2020 till now, I would say that it's been about 4 years, almost 4 years, if I'm to look at the specific month, because I started in July.
Okay.
The first ever post I made, and the very day I created my platform and did my first ever post was in July. I have faced a lot of challenges. If I'm to speak about one, there was a time a student was going through abuse. Her boyfriend was abusing her. She said she had problems with her mother and left her mother's house and went to live with the boyfriend. And the boyfriend was abusing her physically. And then she reached out to me and wanted help. One of the days that I was speaking to her on phone, the guy came in And then I could hear him shouting and yelling at her. Later, I received a very long note, which was a warning
Hmm.
from the guy saying that I should mind my business. I also have problems. I should attend to my problems and then stop poking my nose into other people's affairs and all of those things. So that particular message really, really, really
Got
got
to
to me.
you.
It really got to me. And then there was another time that a girl was also abused on the premises of a certain church here in Accra. And then that message got out to me. That day I was also in school. I was in class as a student. I was juggling between work and school.
Okay.
And when the message got to me, I posted it. That was my first ever time of posting something without concealing the name of the church. I actually concealed the name of the church, but I didn't conceal the location of the church.
Was it intentional?
It wasn't intentional. I didn't conceal the location of the church, but apparently, for some reason, people got to know it was that church. And then I had the priest from the church. It was a Catholic church. I had the priest from the church getting in touch with me. I had core members of the church, the PUIC executives getting in touch with me. I got people texting me that day. My phone was
You had a
hot,
lot.
and this was a serious case of abuse.
Wow.
So it was a whole back and forth. The church asked that I pull down the post. I refused. I didn't want to pull it down. It was a whole back, and they were threatening that they were going to sue me, and it was a whole lot. So I almost got to the point where I was like, you know what, enough is enough. Because in all of this I'm doing, I don't earn any money.
Exactly. No one is paying
It
you.
is pure voluntary work.
Yeah.
I have never earned a CD from what I do. To be honest, there are times people just get in touch with me and say, I love what you are doing. Kindly send me your Momo number. And then they
Okay.
send me something. There have been few instances of that. But whatever I'm doing is purely voluntary. It is not for profit. I rather pump in my own money to
Wow.
aid students in what I'm doing. So when I got to that point, I was like, what's going on? This is not a business. It is not for profit. This is me just putting myself out there to help students. So if I'm getting to a point where I make just this mistake, it was not deliberate. And my argument was that if you follow my post, you will see that I have never
Exactly.
revealed anyone's name, even the names of institutions. I don't do it. And this wasn't even the name of the church, it was the location. But for some reason, this is how it
People got
ended.
to relate it to the church.
Exactly. To the extent that I had to severely warn one of the church secretary who was really getting on my nerves. But to the glory of God, this particular church member who was a student who was abused later got adopted by the priest of this particular church.
Okay.
And then he's currently sponsoring her through school. So at the end of the day, I am happy that, and then they solved it at the church level. They solved the issue at the church level. So I'm happy that at least action was taken, and this particular student, who was actually a struggling student, got adopted by the priest. So that was one of the moments I was like, I'm not doing this again. And later, I decided to continue because I know that I wasn't doing the bad thing. And even when they were threatening to sue me, I was like, when we even get to the court of law, I'm sure when they check my page, the evidences will be there, and whatever would happen should happen. But fortunately,
It didn't get to where you
no,
were
it
thinking.
didn't. And I was even more motivated to do more.
With such a person doing such a thing which is inspiring, and you receiving some sort of backlash and all that, and you still not giving up anytime soon, one will ask, what's your vision? Where do you want to see this in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years?
My vision for Students Talk with Eva is big. In fact, when I was starting this, even though it is a student advocacy platform, the name Students Talk with Eva is also to prepare me to have my own students talk show. And the name of
Okay.
my students talk show is going to be Students Talk with Eva. Where I'm going to, when you look across our media space, I stand to be corrected, but I have not seen any program on television that focuses, or even on radio, that focuses purely on students. And my focus is on students from the senior high school through the university and even postgraduate studies. My focus is on these students because I, as an individual, I believe and feel that it is from this age, students from senior high school, if you look at the age bracket to the university, it is from this age, from the senior high school level especially, where issues of influence are more, even though they also start at the junior high school level, where people are likely to change their ways and their behaviors. And that's where I decided to come in. So I want to have my own talk show
Okay.
later in life, focusing on students, having my audience strictly as students. We speak on student related issues and then purely so. So that's one of my dreams for it. My next dream in the next 5 years is to have my own NGO. And my NGO is also going to be strictly on students. Whatever help I'll be according to people, you must be a student to qualify you for a certain scholarship, to qualify you for a certain job or internship opportunity. And then another thing I want to do in the next 5 years or more is to have a student's haven where I would have a certain complex that has a library and has other facilities in there purely for students. There will be a resting space, a recreational space purely for students. I would have counselors on standby in that same building. If you have issues, you want to speak to an expert or a specialist, you come in there. So these are my three goals,
Wow.
yeah, for the
Wow.
future. So
Wow.
hopefully, when there's life, we
Okay.
achieve that.
So guys,
Yes.
watch out for Miss Eva with inspirational targets and vision as she yearns to do these things not for only young people but students across the country. And I also believe beyond the country to be able to touch lives and inspire a lot of people. How can one learn through the experience of decency and on the other hand address challenges or situations where others behave indecently? So how can one learn through the experience of decency?
For decency, as I keep saying, it's relative. If I'm to come to the student space, there are some lecturers who sack students for looking indecent or for being indecent. I have never done that. Even though I speak about it, I have never done that. There are students who dress indecently in my class, and there are students who have stopped indecently because they are coming to my class.
No, not cutting short, but one would say if such a person that is preaching strongly about such a thing, why would you feel comfortable? Fine, I know it is not a harmful or a hurtful thing, but why would you allow, not sacking them in a bad way, but why don't you? You're a lecturer, you could sack them,
Yeah.
but why would you still allow them to bring it to your class and you keep on preaching that online?
Yes, it is one thing to preach or to talk about something, and it's one thing for others to take it. Now, the reason I don't sack students who dress indecently is because, first of all, there is no prescribed uniform for the university. Secondly, I have not come across any strict university policy on indecent dressing, where the policy says, oh, because the student is indecently dressed, sack the student. I have not come across that. If it is existent in universities, I have not come across it. And even if it's existent, I have not seen how effective it is. So my point is this: once there's no uniform and once there's no strict policy, why sack?
Okay.
You are coming to class to study, even though your dressing may be a hindrance to someone. At the end of the day, focus and you are gone. But what I do is that if such a student is in my class, I speak to them and let them know that try and do better when it comes to your dressing. And a lot of the time they listen. So I sincerely, as a person, do not see why I should sack a student. And some of these students have access to my content.
Okay.
So it only means that maybe they are just not interested. Because when you sack the student and the student decides to take you on, and they decide to refer to the university's policies, and there's none like that, where lies your argument as a lecturer?
Yeah.
If it is the case that there is a certain prescribed uniform, but you have decided not to wear it, I can sack you. Senior high school, if you're supposed to wear a uniform and you wear this dress and go and sit there, does the teacher have a right to sack you?
I remember secondary school, we do, oh, there's a name for it. Um, there's a name for it, mufti. I've forgotten, but there's a name
Yeah,
for wearing unprescribed clothes
exactly, mufti. If you decide to wear mufti, your teacher can sack
yeah,
you, and he has every ground. If you take him to the court of law anywhere, he's confident you win the case.
and at
How
times
about me in the
when
university?
senior house masters even see you, yes,
Unprescribed.
after class, not even during classes time and all that,
Exactly.
they will seize it and then tell you to be,
Exactly.
because we have our PE in our house jersey, so
Everything.
they want you to be in
Everything.
such.
In the senior high school, we have sandals we are supposed to wear. You can't wear this sandal for lectures or for classes in the senior high school. So where a teacher sees you in an unprescribed sandal, they can punish you, they can sack you, they can seize it. There is nothing like prescribed in terms of outfit for the university.
Sure. Before I write on your submission based on the prescribed uniform for tertiary students, let me quickly find out from you. You being a lecturer, you would say you can't sack the person. someone like me, I have a colleague who is dressing indecent to class. How would you advise me to tackle such an issue in talking to the person?
In advising someone on something, not necessarily even on dressing, what I usually do is I try to find out from the person if the person knows whether what he or she is doing is right or not.
Okay.
So if it is on dressing and you have decided to advise your colleague, find out whether what she knows, whether what she's wearing, she indeed knows is decent or not, or she knows is bad or wrong. Now, when you have conversations with such people, sometimes you realize that they are living in their own world. Like I told you about the students that I observed virtually dresses half naked.
So she's
She feels comfortable. She says once the dress goes beyond her elbow, she feels hot, she's uncomfortable. So every time she has to be in slim hands. And for her to be comfortable as well, a part around her breast must show. For her to
wow.
be comfortable, a part around her thighs must show.
Worrying certain guys.
Do you understand? This is her satisfying her needs first before thinking about you. You are secondary to her. So what is comfortable to her may be uncomfortable to someone, but she's satisfying her comfort first. So find out from the person. You don't go advising someone who knows what she's doing. So
Okay.
you are finding out from the person. That's the first step you should do if you decide to advise your colleague. Find out if she knows whether what she's wearing is decent or not. If she gives you the argument that she's comfortable and then she's the type who likes to show skin. I have had students comfortably tell me that, Madam, Madam, it's not like I want to dress indecently. Oh, me, I'm just the type who likes to show skin. Madam, if I dress and I don't show skin, I'm not comfortable. I'm talking about showing skin. It's not hands and legs like I'm showing. Skin, inner skin. Do you understand?
See.
So how do you advise such a person, Andy?
Hmm.
Some people are not meant to be advised, and some people know what they are doing.
They are doing.
But others too want to learn. If I had my phone, I would show you. I could even show you after the show. A student in UCC said that through my videos, she decided to change her way of dressing, and then she has put together, I don't know whether to call it a dressing timetable,
Wow.
where on Monday she wants to wear some clothes based on some recommendations I even gave in my video. And she sent it to me to check and see if it's okay. I made some corrections. She sent it again and sent to me. Consistently for a week, she was sending me photos of
Herself.
herself.
Wow, this
A
is
UCC
inspiring.
student I have never met. So some people want to learn.
Exactly.
There was even a time I did a video on dressing that went really viral. And then I realized some girls tagged themselves and then they were quite insultive under the comment section, which I ignored. Later, one of those girls got in touch with me privately, apologized for their behaviors, and said that she was not like that.
I came across that video.
You saw that video,
Yeah.
good. She said she was not the type who dresses indecently, but it was through influence because of a group of friends. And so she actually wants to change. And I told her you can only change when you do away with those friends. She later came back and said I should help suggest some clothes that she could wear. So others want to learn. So those who want to learn, you
Will
help
learn.
them. Otherwise, there are some people, honestly, you just have to leave them to their feet. Because the truth is that most of them actually know that what they are wearing is the wrong outfit to the wrong place, which
But
is
they'll still
campus.
wear it.
But they still wear it.
When I came across that video, I kept thinking, would it be possible that because other universities, even such as UPSA, are wearing a prescribed uniform, and then going back to your earlier submission, that if there is a law of
Yeah.
students who wear prescribed uniform, from where you sit as a lecturer and then also someone doing inspiring students or young people to dress well in a professional setting on campus, what do you make of it? Do you think there should be a law? And if there is, what are some of the things they should put in place? And
Okay, in relation to dressing
exactly,
in the universities or the tertiary institutions,
yes,
you
ma'am.
realize that some of our tertiary institutions, we have the students wearing uniform. If you take our teacher training colleges, if you take our nursing training colleges, they wear uniforms. And then you mentioned UPSA as a reference point. With UPSA, some programs have
Okay, the sound
prescribed
program.
uniforms. Yes, even with law across board, you realize they wear white and black. It gets to a point where they wear all black, and they all look prim and proper. And that takes me to a video I did some time ago where I was asking that should universities have prescribed uniform? And there were a whole lot of interesting comments in my comment section. Some students said yes, they should have a prescribed uniforms. And I said that even if they are prescribed uniforms, once it's in the tertiary level, you still have people dressing indecently because even in the senior high
Yeah,
schools
exactly.
where you're supposed to wear a skirt, everyone is wearing the same skirt or the same dress. You still have some ladies alterating and making their dresses shorter or more skimpier or well fitted. So you still have that. To be honest, I think that personally, it is not a conversation of whether there should be a uniform or not.
Okay.
Because even if there is a uniform, you still have some students looking indecent in those prescribed uniforms. All right. And it is not also necessarily a conversation of whether what a student is wearing is decent or indecent. Because, like I've told you, I will not peg a certain definition to decent or not. What I keep saying is that they don't juxtapose the two well. What they wear, whether decent or indecent, they wear it to the wrong place, which is lectures. And that has always been my argument in my videos. I say that you can wear a bodycon dress. It is not in my place to say whether it is decent or not, but it is in my place to say whether it is the appropriate, my keyword here is appropriate outfit for lectures in the university space, which is a professional space, or not. That is the conversation. So if you wake up as a student and you decide to wear bikini, if you're a girl and you decide to wear bikini for lectures, there is nothing wrong in wearing a bikini. But ask yourself whether the bikini is an appropriate outfit for lectures or not. Your answer is in the question you would ask yourself.
It seems most of your videos centers on females, and even this conversation even centering on females, how to dress and all that. Are the guys left out, and are they doing the right? Are we doing the right thing?
No, the guys are not left out, but the issue has to do with a greater percentage of who is doing what is wrong.
Okay.
And a lot of the time, you realize that if you pick 10 students, if you pick 10 students and they're a mixture of boys and girls, about 8 or 9 who are likely to be girls are doing the wrong thing.
I see.
And then the one who is a male. For the guys, a lot of the time, what they don't get right, I don't, barely would you see a guy wearing a shirt that is a crop top or wearing, something to show flesh. Unless, of course, you have others who are cross dressers or transgender and then they
Yeah.
decide to dress that. But typically, you wouldn't find that. But with the guys, the problem that I usually find with some of them is, this craze of tattered jeans and, tattered shirts, and then some of them just not knowing what to wear where. You see a guy in a very short shorts, like a swim short or a gym short, and he's wearing that for lectures when he could have worn a jeans trouser or paired it with something else. So it is not intentional.
Let me say this first. Why
It is not
last week or
intentional.
last 2 weeks, I was going to lectures on Saturday. I was even running late. And then when I just got down from the commercial vehicle and then started climbing to the campus, and I saw a gentleman. As I saw him, I said that this guy is also a student, but the way he was walking fast, he's also kind of missing lecture. And he was also in shorts, and I said, "You don't know. If Madam Eva has seen you, you see how she will preach to you."
you know So as for the guys, a lot of the time they rather wear the right clothes but to the wrong place. But for the girls, it is a mixture of the two.
Okay.
Wearing the right clothes to the wrong place, and then the issue of the indecency. But it is not intentional that I
Yeah,
focus
you can
on the
only.
girls. Yes, it is
Okay.
not intentional at all. Maybe because I'm a lady, and maybe because I see more of the wrongs being committed by the ladies. But a lot of the time, I speak to the guys as well. Just that I may give a greater percentage to the girls rather than the guys.
Okay. You being a communication lecturer, I must believe, and social media being a large landscape of shaping the perception of young people, which is one of the ways that influence her dressing. What do you say to it in a brief answer to it?
Yes, social media is doing a lot more of harm than good, especially to this generation. I mean, we all use social media, and the positives are enormous, but the negatives sometimes outweigh the positives. Now, some people dress the way they do because they have seen it on social media. Even the movies that we watch now, you watch high school movies and they are wearing all sorts of fancy, skimpy clothes to class, for lectures and all of that. And you want to inculcate that here.
Yeah.
But sometimes it becomes problematic. So as for social media, it's a continuous conversation that we can always have. But definitely social media has impacted the way that students are looking today. Listen, Andy, I cast my mind back to a few years ago when we were in school
Okay.
and how we looked. and how students today in the university are
Now
looking.
looking.
And there's a vast difference, even though it's just few years ago. When we were in school, same GIJ, there was nothing like a prescribed uniform. But for some reason, we came to meet a culture where on Monday we wore official clothes, where on Tuesday we wore official clothes, where, and when I say official, I don't mean suits with tie in our necks. No, I mean when I say official, official trousers, decent, simple official, top.
Nice shirt.
Exactly. Where on Wednesday we wore something that was semi-official. Thursday, casual. We even had a GIJ day when we were in school where we had GIJ polo shirts. And then on
Okay.
Thursdays we wore our GIJ polo shirts. It was under one of the administrations of the SRC, the Nuchiga led SRC
Yeah.
administration. We had Thursday wears, we wore our GIJ shirts, we paired it with trousers, either blue trousers or black trousers, and sneakers or any footwear that you were interested in. So on Thursdays, campus looked so colorful. And on Fridays, we had African wears where you are wearing either an African print dress if you're a lady or a nice African print top with a trouser. This is a culture we came to meet. So it was not a prescribed outfit or uniform for anyone, but we came to meet that culture. But currently, it's dwindling.
One would say your time and our time. Let me put official side as official dressing aside. I have no qualms about dressing official, but one would say your time and this time there's vast things have changed, technology has advanced and all that, so we are also evolving and all that. What do you say to it? And then the second question is, you talking about we having GIG day. We have been given polo shirt, but you wear it when you feel like wearing. Others even go to the extent of not wearing it. I had a colleague who gave me his t-shirt that he
It
doesn't know
doesn't want
what.
to
Yeah.
use it.
So what do you say to it?
When I say my time and your time, to be honest, I'm not old. I'm very young. I am very young. And when I say my time, it is just a few years ago.
Okay.
But of course, trends are changing. Okay. Technology and social media has made the world a bit more advanced. And so once the trends are changing, the culture and especially the culture of dressing, our way of eating, fashion trends, they are also changing. So I think that it has just caught up with this particular generation who are trying to also catch up with the current trends. And so because of that, to some extent, they may get it wrong when it comes to how they look. And also when it comes to the GIG day that I spoke about, when we were in school, it was a certain administration's initiative. Like I said, it was the Nuchuga led administrative initiative where the SRCS at that time decided that every Thursday should be a certain GIJ day where we wore polo shirts with our blue or black jeans trousers and sneakers or whatever footwear you were comfortable with. So if this current administration has given you polo shirts and they have not brought that initiative, then I think that it's a conversation that the student front should have.
Should have.
Yes. So maybe if students suggest that and you decide to wear, everyone would wear.
It won't be a bad idea at all for us all to be in our polo shirts
Yeah, our time
and
campus looked colorful.
and all that,
Yeah,
so that it
campus
could
was
also
beautiful.
reduce the rate at which indecent dressing goes and all that.
It could help. And another thing I left out was the fact that on this GIG days, it didn't just end on us wearing the polo shirt with our jeans and our sneakers, but we were tasked to post on social media. So when
Okay.
you come to campus on Thursdays, before or after lectures, students are taking photographs all over.
Pictures.
Photojournalism students are looking for you to take photos. And then you hashtag GIJ, the hashtag I wear GIJ. There were specific hashtags were even given to. So on Thursdays, those days, Facebook and Instagram, Facebook especially, it was more dominant. So we're posting all over. So even if you don't want to wear yours, you are likely to wear because you have to post. And the SRC
You'll be left out.
also used to post on their official pages as well. So it was an initiative that worked. It was effective actually. So maybe if something like that is going to be done.
I watched one of your videos and it really spoke to me personally based on where I find myself, and it's you speaking about weekend students. I'm a weekend student. I'm
Okay.
also juggling work alongside. Could you briefly enlighten myself and my audience, being a weekend student, any advice and any tip for us to take in and all that?
One of the greatest challenges that weekend students go through is juggling between work and school, because typically for a weekend school across board, you'd realize that most of the students work. Not all weekend students work, but most of them work. And having lectured in the weekend school for a while, I realized that sometimes students at the weekend school struggle to submit assignments on time. Some do not even submit assignments at all. Some also struggle to even come for lectures, because we all know how our weekends can be packed.
Yeah.
There are lots of social activities on the weekend, from funerals to naming ceremonies to weddings. And then the fact that typically on the weekend, as a person, you would want to wash, you want to clean your room, and once you work Monday to Friday, you would want to even rest during the weekend, which is just 2 days. So one of the things that weekend students can easily do is to, try to seek help or to seek support. One of the challenges I realize some students face is they can't even ask for help. If your work life is so cumbersome and you don't have time there, you could seek for help, seek for support from your colleagues at work. You could even speak to your boss so that they can lessen your schedule, because now you are in school. They can even give you off days when necessary, give you leave as and when. There are even some weekend students who cannot get leave, a leave period, even when they are writing exams. Their bosses would not give it to them, because for some of them, they are also doing the program at the blind side of their bosses. They are not even aware they are in school. So they are just struggling. So as a weekend student, try and seek for permission from work if you feel you need it. Seek for help or support from some good friends, family members, and good colleagues as well. Some would even have some of their colleagues in school helping to explain things to them, and then helping to explain their assignments to them. So, as a weekend student, you really need to have a liberated conversation with your close circle and see how they can help you. After all, you are in school for just a period. Even if it's a 4 year program, within 4 years you are done, unless you decide to continue. If it's just a 2 year program, within 2 years you are done. So you are not going to be tied as a student for a very long time. So seek support for the period whilst you
Okay.
can.
I don't know how I would feel if my parents stood on their grounds to insist a profession on me to embark on, aside the journalism calling that I'm embarking on. I came across your video once again talking about parents choosing a career for their wards. What do you say to it as well?
Parents should guide their wards when it comes to choosing their career paths, but not impose careers or programs on children. I believe that we all have a certain self-discovery. We all have a certain self-discovery journey where you are growing up, and in your mind, you know that you want to be a certain career in future. So typically growing up, what do you want to be in future? You're likely to say, I want to be a doctor, I want to
Doctor.
be a lawyer. But as we grow, our paths change.
Yeah.
We begin to discover ourselves even more, and we want to fit into some careers. But a typical Ghanaian parent would want to impose a certain career path on the child. And for some of them, it is just based on prestige and the fact that, oh, my child is pursuing a certain program, and that gives them prestige. But they do that at the blind side of the child's interest. I'll take medicine as an example. Once you are intelligent as a Ghanaian child growing up, you are likely to be forced to pursue science at the senior high school level. If you are not able to contest that, that is what you would do. But sometimes these students want to do visual arts.
Yeah.
Sometimes these students want to do home economics. But then again, when I say a typical Ghanaian parent, I mean more Ghanaian parents will do that rather than all. And right after science, what do we hear? Medicine. Some of these science students want to do engineering. Our engineering sector in this country is suffering. We are being more followers rather than creators. Nothing is being created for anyone. But a typical science student who is done and has a single aggregate of 6, 7, 8 is advised to go and do medicine. When some of these people even fear the hospitals, they fear blood. Naturally, they don't have passion for people when they are sick, but they are supposed to work within those spaces. And for a typical Ghanaian parent whose child is pursuing medicine, it is pride. And when you go through the part of general arts, the conversation becomes that of law, law, law. Once you have done general arts, then you should go and do law. And some of these students are not interested in law. So my argument is this: as parents, guide your children. Speak to them and know what your children want to do. and then you can guide them on those career paths. No matter how intelligent your child is, if your child wants to do visual art, painting, whatever, because the child also possesses some skills, guide them in that regard. Because believe you me, Andy, these creative arts people, they are the ones even making more money
Yeah.
than the white collar job that some of our parents think. And to also admonish the children as well. Some of our children don't know what they want to do. And when you don't know what you want to do, someone, especially your parent, is likely to impose something on you. If you are someone who wants to pursue, say, a career in painting, in photography, sit your parents down and speak to them politely. Justify why you want to pursue a career in painting or photography and not in medicine. Your parents are human beings. They love you. They will listen. They will think about it. And at the end of the day, you put your heads together and then you reach a middle ground. But there are some students who don't know what they want to do. Senior high school, her father chose science for her. Now she's done with senior high school. Daddy calls her. Abena, what do you want to do? Now they are down. Daddy, me, I don't know. It is medicine you push you to do because you had aggregate
Exactly.
7 and it qualifies you for medicine. So for me, I don't blame parents entirely. I blame our students as well.
Okay.
Sometimes they just don't know what they want to do.
To add up to the conversation, I remember it was after secondary school, and a colleague of mine told me one of our lecturers, as our literature lecturer, came to sack him from the compound to go to class because he was crying. Why? Because his mother told him to come and do science, and when he got to the science class, he knew of science and what it means. But when he got to science class and got to chemistry, whatever they were teaching was running through his head. So he had to go and stand outside and was crying outside. So
Yeah.
our literature teacher saw him outside and asked him to, he told him, and then he brought him to the general art class. And now in the class he's doing well. And one
Yeah.
of the things that he loved, apart from the courses that we offered, was the literature, meaning the English course that we offered in school. And you mentioned of a child that doesn't know what he wants to do. There are some children who know what they want to do, and there are some parents also who stand on their grounds
Who
to
would still
enforce.
insist?
What?
Exactly.
How do you make that child? Because in a Ghanaian setting, when you go beyond the sense of trying to also stand to your grounds and say, Daddy, I want this, it comes like you don't respect and all that.
Yeah.
How do you speak to this child in a way of talking to his mother and his father for them to understand that this is the path I want to get to?
Yeah, you still need to speak to your parents. I'm a parent myself. And even though my children are little, but there are times they speak to me and then I think about what they say and then I do what they say. A lot of the time, when students say they have spoken to their parents and they don't listen, it is because sometimes the reasons that you give are not justifiable enough. You want to pursue a program in, say, theater arts. You ask the child, when you're done with theater arts, what exactly do you want to do? I want to be a dancer. Does theater art engage or include only dancing? There is more to theater art than just dancing. And so if you just want to tell your father that I want to do theater arts because I want to be a dancer, and your father for some reason is against dancing, then he will not let you pursue it. Read on theater arts as an example. Get to know the other career opportunities that come with theater arts, so that when you're having a conversation with daddy, you're having a comprehensive conversation with him. And then he knows that beyond dancing, you can do more with theater arts. And then these are the career opportunities available. And within these career opportunities, this is what I want to do specifically. But a lot of the time, the students themselves are not beefed up with information. And so they struggle, they themselves struggle. Now, where you don't understand what you want to do yourself, how do you relay that information to your parent who is going to remove money to pay your fees? If I am a parent and I'm supposed to pay for you to go and do theater art, which entails a lot, and you tell me all you want to do is dancing, and I have a problem with dancing, would I pay your fees,
No.
Andy?
You
So,
wouldn't.
exactly. And then the truth is that times are changing,
Yeah.
trends are changing, and so children or students are encouraged to find diverse and more innovative ways of speaking to their parents. Sometimes the timing of the conversation is not good. If you want to speak to your parent about a program you want to do and you know your parent is against it, you must get the timing right. There are some children who would come and speak to their parents on important issues on the day their parents are angry. The day daddy is on phone shouting on someone because a business deal is going wrong, that is the day you are coming to have the conversation.
Yes, your
So
father.
get the timing right. And when you get the timing right and you speak to them, they would listen. Aside that, when you get all of your justifiable reasons why you want to do something, and let them know that at the end of the day, they will get costs, they will get the benefits of their money. They will listen to you. So I give you a typical example. You want to pursue medicine. At the end of the day, what reasons are you giving to your parents? Let them see that they will get value for their money and that the fees they are going to pay for about 6 or 7 years will not go to waste.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, they will definitely listen. But if you give reasons that speak to the fact that at the end of the day, your parent who is investing in you is going to get zero returns, and who wants to invest? Who wants to invest in a lost venture? No one will want to do that. And as parents, as your parents are paying for your fees, as you are progressing on to the next level and on to the next, they are also looking at the return on investment. Your parents want you to be done with school, and then when they are old, in their old age, you should be financially buoyant to be able to cater
Cater
for
for
them.
them.
When they are sick, you should be able to buy their expensive drugs, hypertensive and diabetic drugs that they'll be taking in future. So if at the end of the day you can't do that for your parents and you rather come and be a burden to them because of a certain program you have pursued, which parent wants to go or invest into a lost venture?
Your vision is students, and you made mention of secondary school students and all that.
Yeah,
What advice would you give to secondary students who are entering the tertiary? Is there anything they should take note of before they come?
definitely life in the university and the tertiary institutions is completely different from what we have in the secondary school. In the secondary school, you have, or in the senior high school, you have house masters or house mistresses. You have a certain senior house master or senior house mistress. You have teachers who are guiding you through the process. Everything is scheduled at the senior high school level. From the time you wake up to the time you do your morning duties, you go to class, come for lunch, have prep, go for prep, and all of those. Everything is scheduled. In the university, no one controls you. There is no housemaster anywhere in the university to guide you. Even if you are a resident on campus, in a hall or a hostel on campus, at best, all you have is that you have a certain caretaker for a hostel who is just concerned about the fact that everything goes well, and then, you know, at the end of the day, everything is clean and well kept. But no one really looks at your welfare. There's no one in charge. So in the university, you are in charge of your life. Your life is in your hands. Mommy is not there, daddy is not there. No one controls you. So if you come into this space and you are not able to discipline yourself and control the things you go, you'll be lost and you're likely to lose focus. So the university place is a different playing field. So you really need to be prepared before you come into this space.
Sure. One thing I hold dearly to my life and making sure I tackle it tactfully is about networking. You also made mention and extensively said a lot about it. You having a friend on campus, and then afterwards, after
Yeah,
school, they get to offer you a job and all that.
yeah.
And I've seen not offering me a job. Yeah, I would say offering me a job. I got a call from a colleague who I'm in school with on that's Good Friday,
Okay.
that there's a colleague of hers who is looking for a media something. I thought it's one of these things because I've been receiving a lot of them based on what I do
Yeah.
about this YouTube something. So I thought that's normal this thing. I called the person asked me to send my a short video, which I did, and by the grace of God, that's where it's a new media house. I don't want to mention it, but that's where I'm working through
Yeah.
that friend. So
So
what
you
do
are
you
currently working there.
working there?
Okay.
It's a new media house though. Currently working there, and everything is going as expected and more to expect as well. What do you
Right.
see to networking and some people who do not even want to socialize and they are just close to themselves, as you also made mention in your video
Yeah.
and all that?
Yes. Socialization and networking, especially at the university level, is a good thing to do. In fact, it is one of the go-to things you should do because in the university you have people from all walks of life. You have people across all industries. You have people who are working and schooling at the same time. You have people who already have degrees and masters but are starting afresh with degrees and masters again. So if you don't network, how do you know who is in your class? How do you know whose child is in your class? And then looking at where the world is going to, your certificate alone is not going to do anything for you. Your certificate alone will do nothing. You can have a first class, you can be as intelligent as you are, but if you don't network and mingle with the right people, trust me, in this day and age, especially in Ghana, you will sit in the house with your
No wonder
intelligence,
we say
with
to
your
whom you
first
know
class. Yeah. Yeah, not necessarily who even know who you know, but who also
also
knows
knows
you.
you.
So you ask the question of who, as you know someone who knows
Knows
you
you.
to hold your hand and show you the way. So networking is key. If you come to class and you're done with lectures, at least stay around, mingle. In the university, there are lots of programs. There are SRC week celebrations, there are Women's Commission week celebrations, there are lots of activities here and there. You too, once in a while, pass through some of these activities and have a conversation with one or two people. You would never know who holds that opportunity that you are searching for. So, as for networking and socialization, students in the university should never take them for granted at all.
I saved this one for the last. When is the right time for us to start dating?
To
Secondary school, they say when you go to the tertiary.
okay,
Tertiary too, you are telling us to be decent and all that. Fine, you have
okay,
not really said we shouldn't date and all that.
yes.
But from what you said, when do you think is the right time for a young person who's at the tertiary to
Mm.
start dating?
Or the right person for anyone to date.
Exactly.
The right person for anyone to date is in the person's hands. To be honest, there is no specific time and period to date. I even would not sit here and say that date at this time or date at this age, because times and trends are actually changing. Whenever you feel is the right time to date and you feel you have met the right person, why not? You should go in for it. I think that again, everyone has a different plan that they have for their lives. Some people get married at a very early age, 18 for some of the ladies. They are still able to go through school because they have the right supportive partner. They go through school and then they attain the highest level of education they want to attain for themselves. Someone else gets married at 18 and her story is different. Her story is different because it's, of course, a different partner. The person is likely to drop out of school and the other factors follow. Someone gets married after school by age 23, age 24, everything is okay. Others decide to get married at 30, you know. But if you want me to say something specific, for the university especially, that is when most people feel they are comfortable to date or find themselves in a relationship or by extension even marry. Because typically in a typical Ghanaian university, even in level 100, you find that in level 100 you have 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, once in a while 16-year-olds.
Yeah,
But typically from 18, a Ghanaian child is in the university, and we all know that 18 is pegged as a start of adulthood.
exactly.
And so from that period, some decide to date, some decide to wait till they are well mature within adulthood from 20 plus, and then they also decide to. At the end of the day, there is no strict age.
Okay.
Whatever you feel is right, if you feel you've met the right person and you want to kickstart, why not?
It's
You
up to
you
you
yeah.
too.
So there's really no specific or strict time or age at all.
Okay. For your final words, and in giving us your final words in general, I would also want you to channel it to the importance of education. In one of your videos that you did about education, you made mention of
Yeah.
saying that other people are laughing at people that they are going to school, they are getting themselves educated, and other people are laughing at them in that sense. So you giving us a general final words, you can channel it to education as well.
Right. So my final words would be that once you're a student, you are definitely in school. And so as much as possible, depending on what your career path is, you should try and seek the highest level of education within that career path. So if you want to be a lecturer, definitely you need a PhD. And so you should ensure that you attain school to the fullest of earning that PhD. If you decide to be in industry, and depending on the industry that you find yourself in, where you would have to work on some career development courses. There are times you are within industry, you have a master's, but you need to do some certificate programs to beef up yourself so that you can get your promotions, get your appointments. Then, as much as possible, you should do so in that regard. And as for education, education is highly important. We do not get educated because we want to be rich or get money into our pockets. Education is all encompassing, it is holistic. When you get education, it pushes you to do things better differently, and it opens up a lot of opportunities or a lot of doors for you. The way you speak, the way you handle your things will be entirely different. And then I'm just reminded of this whole conversation of whether a PhD is important or not. A PhD is important, would only be important to you depending on what you want to use it for.
Sure.
And people say that PhD holders are not rich and then they are poor and all of that. There are a lot of JHS dropouts who are rich and all of that. You see, when you're talking about education and you want to equate it to money or riches, then it is a problem.
But they also feel
It,
that
it is a
education is
problem.
the key to success.
Yes, is a key to success. Does not necessarily mean success is riches or success is money. Who equates success to riches? You can be successful in different endeavors. It does not necessarily mean that because you are successful. A rich person is not necessarily successful, and a successful person is not necessarily rich. You must delineate these two concepts, and then you'll be good to go.
Okay, a rich person is not necessarily successful,
No,
and a successful person is not necessarily a rich
rich.
person.
Yes.
So, guys, this is where time will allow us to have an intense conversation with Miss Eva, as she loves to be called, a lecturer on the University of Media Arts and Communication campus. That's GIG campus. You have gotten to your voice and power segment. There's a time we watch an inspiring video from anyone across the world to inspire ourselves. Let's watch this video. Come back with more.
Giving up is something I did a lot of growing up, and I don't think I really challenged myself to stick anything through until I joined the track team in middle school. I remember having to ask my mom after tryouts and making it to the team for my very first pair of track shoes. Now, at the time, she walks into our house and she has a bag that has a nice Nike check sign on it, so I get excited because I wasn't getting new shoes very often. I go to take the shoebox out the bag and I notice that it says a size 9 on it. Mind you, in the 7th grade, I was a size 5. I open the box and I slide my feet into the shoe and I look at my mother and I said, "These shoes are too big." She says, "I know I did that on purpose." I was like, "Why would you buy shoes that are too big on purpose, Mom?" And she says, "Because I know that you're going to grow into them." Coach has us line up on the starting line, and he wants us to run a lap around the track. As we go to take off, I immediately fall to the ground, twist my ankle, because the shoes are entirely too big. See, I couldn't run at the speed that I wanted to because I didn't fit the shoes I was wearing at the time. Now, many of us have goals we're trying to achieve. But the person we are right now is not the person that we need to be when we cross the finish line to our dreams. So we must walk and pace ourselves on this journey to our goals because we haven't grown enough in ourselves to fit the shoes that we need to achieve our aspirations.
Yamli, welcome back to the Kingmakers World Show with me and your Pondichi, and we're having an intense conversation with Miss Eva on decent dressing across board in the lives of young people, with putting focus on students in the country and then beyond. We have gotten to another fun time on the show where I love so much. This is the time we have fun with our interviewees, have fun with them, and then find out how smart they are. And on this fun segment, we'll ask guest here a question for us, for her to answer for us. We'll come back with more. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, welcome back to the Changemakers World Show with me and your Pundit. And this is the fun segment time where we have fun with our interviewees. And on the fun segment, we have a couple of questions here. Miss Eva will pick one and then she'll answer for us.
Okay.
It's a question I'm sure you love. Okay. Yeah, so the question says that could you enlighten us on the lifestyle young people or students to, for that matter, live on campus, copying recalcitrant students on campus? There are a lot of
Okay.
people who copy people when they come. They are not like that, but at the end of the day, end of the semester or in their 4 years on campus, they leave, they turn a different person altogether.
Okay, so basically, in talking about lifestyle to live on campus, for me, it's about doing the right thing. All right. I have observed that a lot of students, especially at the university level, when they get to school, they forget where they are coming from. They forget home, like I like to put it, and they lose focus. So once you lose focus, you're likely to pick up all sorts of unwholesome lifestyles like smoking, drinking, clubbing, you know, going to unnecessary places and places of no concern to you. Rather adapt lifestyles of reading, having a positive supportive group. Having a positive supportive group as a student is very important. It does not necessarily have to do with having the numbers. Sometimes it is just being close with that one person, two people, three people that you can easily pour your frustrations that you are going through on as a student. They give you good and wholesome advice, and then you move on with your life positively as a student. It also involves attending meaningful workshops, seminars, conferences, engaging in meaningful activities on campus, going for meaningful and educative trips. A lot of the time, the ones that are organized by the SRC, sanctioned by the university, meaningful trips where you go and relax, you have fun, and then you come back to your schoolwork. These are some of the things you can do. Taking part actively in student activities, whether it's student politics, whether it's a beauty pageant your SRC is organizing, take part in all of these activities. Adapt these lifestyles. What these lifestyles do for you is that they build you up holistically. For instance, if you decide to take part in a pageant, a typical pageant entails that you deliver a speech, you are speaking to people, you are modeling or walking in front of people. All of these activities within the pageant, as an example, they help to boost your confidence as a student. You are speaking to the public, you are boosting your confidence, and you will definitely prepare before you come and deliver a speech. If you're part of a beauty pageant, you are learning, you are conducting research. If you are going on an educational trip to a certain site, when you go there, you learn a lot. You are mingling with people, you are socializing, you are seated in the bus with another student you have never spoken to before. Through the conversation, you get to know that he works in a certain organization where they are looking for an intern, where they are looking for national service persons, where they are looking for students who would work on part-time basis. And then you are building your network up from there. So these are some of the lifestyles that I would encourage students to pick up, because it will give them that holistic education that they are looking for, which the classroom would not necessarily give to them.
Actually, Miss Eva, thank you so much for coming to the Changemakers World Show, and we are encouraging you here on the Changemakers World Show project that you are doing so well in touching lives and then inspiring a lot of people, and we encourage you that you keep going. Guys, you have heard it all from Miss Eva, and I don't have to say a lot. As the thing goes, decency is not only about what you wear, it's also about the kind of people you befriend, your networking, your class group, and even socializing on campus and even beyond. And I would also encourage you to go to her page on Facebook, that's
Eva.
Student Talk with Eva. And if you are not even a student, there are some of the life lessons that she teaches that even cut across life experience and all that, and then you'll be able to live a life that you want to live. You can follow our social media pages and also visit our website andiopon.com to read more stories, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel here on Andiopon Online TV. Let's meet again for another conversation right here on the show. So then, bye bye for now.
Yo!